And yeah. So thank you everyone for coming. I wanted to just welcome our esteemed panelists, participants, and partners to today's Fireside Chat in Kenya. We deeply appreciate your time and commitment to be part of this journey, because empowering young people in Kenya is extremely important. This conversation is not just about sharing insights. It's about solutions, opportunities, and action. So, who are we? Who are we, and why are we interested in you? Hesed is a global nonprofit dedicated to empowering youth through education, career development, and entrepreneurship. Our mission is simple: to bridge opportunity gaps by providing mentorship, skill training, access to resources that help young people thrive like yourselves. The reality for young Kenyans, according to the statistics, Kenya's workforce is young. 75% of Kenyans are under 35. Youth unemployment is critical. While the overall employment rate is 5.6% amongst the youth age 15-34, it soared to 67%. The job market is shifting, with 85% of employers saying graduates lack key soft skills. There is a clear gap between education and workplace expectations. Entrepreneurship is tough but necessary. Yet only 3% of startups secure venture capital, highlighting the need for alternative funding. The gig economy is growing. Africans freelancers earn over $400 million annually, showing that digital and global opportunities are worth exploring. Mental health. Well, mental well-being is a growing concern. Economic hardship contributes to stress, anxiety, making resilience and mentorship even more important. Now, the purpose of today's Fireside Chat. 1, to bridging the education to employment gap. 2, providing entrepreneurship insights. 3, encouraging mentorship and networking. 4, promoting mental resilience. My call to action to you today: engage actively, ask questions, share your experience, and challenge perspectives. Network and connect. The reason why this is important is that I would not have created Hesed as the founder and president if it's not because of my network and my connection. So it works. You can start today. So another point I wanted to say is take action. You can have the knowledge, but it's only powerful when you apply the knowledge. So ask yourself, what step are you going to take today? In closing, this is more than just a conversation. It's a platform for change. Let's learn, collaborate, and commit to action that drives youth empowerment in Kenya. Thank you for being part of this journey. Let's begin. So I'm going to pass it on to a wonderful moderator, David Owino. He's actually a documentary film producer and broadcast journalist. David, over to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kiki. And thank you all so very much for joining us this, what I would say, afternoon, because I am joining you from Nairobi. Karibuni sana. And yes, Kiki is president and founder of Hesed that has brought us all together this afternoon to talk about this important topic of developing together with the youth, it cannot even be overemphasized. They are the, we used to say the leaders of tomorrow, but they are the core population now and the core population for the foreseeable future. You can no longer look at them the same way. So now I want to really very quickly introduce our panelists. We will be fielding a number of questions to them. May I mention that these questions were sent in by you, so as people registered, they sent in questions which they thought were important to address when it comes to the questions of, when it comes to the issue of youth empowerment in Kenya, and by extension, in the continent. Let me introduce Professor Patrick Maluki. Professor, of course, is a teacher. He teaches, but he is a chairman of the Department of Diplomacy and International Studies at the University of Nairobi. An author who's authored books and chapters in different books, and who is passionate about youth empowerment, deals with young people on a daily, understands their pain and the challenges that they are going through as they navigate their career journeys or their professional journeys. Karibu sana, Professor. We'll be happy to hear your voice when we get into the conversation. Allow me to introduce also Muthoni Njogu. Muthoni is a transformational coach, just the kind of person that we need for this conversation. She is also management and organizational development specialist and social entrepreneur. The Kenyan in me is showing there. I will not get into the details. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Muthoni, for taking the time to be with us this afternoon. Karibu sana. We're happy to hear your voice. We have also Minn. Minn is former diplomat for the government of Myanmar to the UN in New York. He is his expertise traverses a number of things. One of them is disarmament, human rights, combating transnational organized crime. He's worked for the public sector, international development, and also the private sector. Today, he's passionate about cybersecurity, peace, and youth empowerment. He's currently an executive in residence with the Global Fellowship Initiative at the Geneva Center for Security Policy. Karibu sana. You're welcome. Let me now introduce the youngest panelists that we have today, part of that core population that we are addressing today, and that is Naomi Chepkemoi. Naomi is the liaison officer at Hesed World here in Nairobi. She coordinates mentorship programs and stakeholder engagement. She is engaged in policy analysis on African development with certification in cybersecurity, leadership, climate security. And she has also worked with the Geneva Center for Security Policy and Johns Hopkins, contributing to global security and health initiatives. Naomi is with us today, and I'd like to start with you, Naomi. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much.
Great. So, Naomi, one of the major issues that our participants highlighted today, which happens to be a core pain point for many people, is a transition. And I'm putting this question to you first because it's not been so long since you left campus. So the same life can be all rosy when you're in campus with the belief that you got this going on and it's going well until the time comes to transition to the job market. And then you realize it is not as easy as you thought. What are some of the the gaps that you think someone should already contemplate or plan for ahead of that transition? How can you be transition ready?
Okay, thank you so much. And that's a good question because those are some of the issues that young people face, and especially young people who are finishing their college, they're in their 4th years, or those who are even in Form 4, So I think some of the issues that young people face is lack of, I would say, lack of mentorship. As early as when you're in campus, I think the only thing that sticks into our minds or stick into the minds of the young people is you join campus, and then after you join campus, learn, and then finish, having high expectations that you're gonna get a job immediately. But on the ground, things are totally different. And I think this is because when we have that mentality, or actually when we think that when we get out of campus, that's what we are going to get. I'm going to get a job. I did international studies. I'm going to get a job in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, not knowing that we can actually utilize our time during this process of learning and get to utilize some of the facilities or some of the skills that are there so that we can be ready for the job market. And some of the gaps that are there is not utilizing the skills that are there, because I think one of the things is you learn international relationships or you learn actuarial science, you go campus to learn law and all that. You know that after that, you don't actually open up your mind to be able to get to understand that there are some skills that can help you to get prepared to campus. And so I would say mentorship, if there are mentorship and I mean, through colleges that can be established through colleges, it would really be of importance to the young people, because they will be getting out of their campuses very ready and prepared for the job world or for the job market. Yeah. Thank you.
So, it should be part of it on-campus learning.
Yes.
Mentorship should be embedded there. Professor, you deal with these young people on a daily. What do they tell you?
Thank you very much for this. As you heard, I'm Professor Patrick Maluki, and I teach at the University of Nairobi. It's a pleasure to be in this Fire Chat dialogue and explore how we can capacity build our young people. I'll start by saying that, yes, of course, the young people are very enthusiastic, have a lot of energy, but they are very disillusioned because increasingly job opportunities are shrinking, yet the number of graduates is expanding, and there is a really stiff competition for the little jobs available, and therefore one need to be a little bit smart. And the question of transitioning from a university student to now an independent, self-reliant individual. It's not very easy, but it has to happen. In fact, I want to start by saying that all of us have passed through that transition. And I think I'm happy we have this kind of a forum to inform the young ones today. During our time, it was you struggling on your own. You either make it or you don't make it, and no one is able to speak to you. So first I want to really appreciate this effort to open up and speak to our young people and share experience. I think, mainly when you are through with your studies, of course, the world is new, and you are getting out of control of your parents, and a lot of expectations are there, yet you have nothing. Literally, you have nothing, only your certificate, and therefore where to start, how to maneuver is not easy. It's not easy. But I think the first thing that I would encourage young people to have is a positive spirit. Believe in yourself. Don't lose hope. No, this is a transition, and all of us grow. You are in your growth trajectory. You are transitioning, and so resilience and being patient. One of the issues that affect our young people is they are very impatient. You have just granted you want to move to the office tomorrow. You obviously doesn't work like that, and so that transition is necessary. But do you have the necessary skills and aptitudes to carry you, along as you wait, as you search? And this is where the word resilience is necessary. Also, soft skills is necessary. What do you come out of university with? What can you start with? Quite a number of young people are benefiting from these online jobs where you have your laptop, you have your your phone, and you are able to do 1, 2, 3 things. And I think as you prepare to leave university, try to establish some good network. I would encourage students, that get to know your professors, get to know, so that you have a fallback and you have somebody to hold you as you transition. Yeah, thank you very much.
Number of things. Thank you. So a little network here, a little bit of patience, a little bit of resilience, being the best. We all seem to agree that being the best journalism student in my class is not enough. There are other skills. I can't bury my head in the sand of journalism in this case, and not learn anything else and expect to thrive. So Muthoni, I'd like to bring you in. What would you consider to be the core or the key skills of this century that every young person who's leaving campus perhaps need to have, learned before they step out?
Thank you so much, David, and even for the speakers who came before me. Thank you for the insights that you've shared. A deep appreciation to Hesed World for bringing us together, Kiki and the team, because this is where the conversation starts, and this is where we plant the seed for what Naomi said, the voices of change, because our young people are the change catalysts, and we are the ones now leaving them the space to thrive and grow, and actually we're leaving for them our country, our planet, and its people. So this is something that's really, really key, and I'm grateful that an organization like Hesed World has taken that step to make sure that we are moving forward in supporting the ones who come after us to still make this world a better. Now, David has asked me a question about what are those skills? What are those other skills? And it's a very good question, David, because I can't remember who were the speakers who said about those other soft skills. I think it was a professor who said about soft skills. And I keep asking myself, we have identified, I don't know where Professor is, and when he jumps back, I'll actually ask him to speak to this, because we have said that there's a clear gap in our curriculum. What is the university doing to put in the curriculum subjects such as coaching and mentoring? Because if we know the gap is there from the mainstream education system, where we have our youth going, we need to actually have a very robust education system that's looking at what is it that we need to give our students, apart from the substantive subjects that they've gone to learn. Where can we make sure that this conversation we are having today with Hesed World is in the university program? That is the first point. The second point is, there is something that Professor has alluded to, the aspect of patience, the aspect of positive spirit, and the aspects of resilience. All these are soft skills where we say we are working we're doing our inner work as the youth, because resilience will not be taught in class. Resilience is your inner work. This is where coaching programs come in. And I want first to make a very good distinction here. There's a difference between coaching and mentoring. Mentoring is tutoring, is what prof and their teams are doing to say, hey, you have a learning gap. As you work to be a diplomat, there is a gap that we need to fill, and I'm going to get one of the people in my faculty to help you with that gap. Then you have the Muthonis of this world, who are coaches, who come to tell you, hey, I see you, Naomi, who wants to be a change catalyst. Let us walk through that partnership together. What does change catalyst mean for you? What are those things that you have in you that you haven't quite brought out that will enable you to thrive, that will help you to get that empowerment? Your coach is your partner in a thought-provoking discussion. We believe as coaches that everybody is whole and able. You have all the resources in you. My work as a transformational coach is to help you see what you're not seeing, because there's something that's clouding your mind at the moment. So if I can say it in one word, David, is an appeal to Prof and the team to now see that we have to have an education system that is robust enough to build within the curriculum those soft skills. The coaching aspect of it. We know that coaching is going to do many things for our youth. One, it's going to promote the intergenerational way of working. One of the reasons, and I think Kiki made that up, she started saying, well, employers want to look for the youth who have certain skills. Well, employers and the youth need to work together to understand that they're working from different generations. You know, the youth are permanently on their phones. How then does an employer then allow that youth to be so creative and innovative and work into the fit into the workplace where we know you sit in meetings for hours and hours, and guess what? The youth get bored. So in order for us to create that space, let's bring that intergenerational way of working that we get from having a coaching mindset. The other thing is about psychological safety. Coaching helps to take care of psychological safety. And where does psychological safety take us as a youth? It helps us to look inwards and say, hey, this is what I am experiencing at the moment. This is what I feel in this team. And my company or this institution that I'm working has been kind enough to understand that there are things that will work and not work. And they will provide that platform when things are not working and when things are working. That is the psychological safety. That's what we need to have within our management structures, within our leadership structures, so that when our youth come to our organizations, they feel secure enough to stay, and they will then perform to their highest levels. That also has to do with resilience. I know, I don't want to hold this space, but I want to tell you about resilience.
Okay.
The resilience starts from the mind. And we start to nurture resilience by understanding who you are, your self-awareness, your capacity. What are you bringing to the table? Do not shy away to say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I want to sell to you today. And this is how I want to sell it. We live in a mirage if we think that every youth in Kenya is going to go to formal employment. We live in a mirage. So I don't even call it career. I call it creating job opportunity. That's what we need to. And that's the crux of the matter. I stop.
Thank you very much, Muthoni. It seems there is really no shortcut. We have to develop the whole person right at the place of academic development. It has to be wholesome. Minn, I'd like you to come in here now, and a number of speakers have mentioned the gig economy. The youths are getting engaged online, gainfully engaged online. And is it too early at this point to talk about leveraging global networks and international collaborations when it comes to trying to find opportunities beyond the borders?
Hello?
Yes.
No. Actually, no. The generations, my generations, the generations have already evolved, right? So the current generations is so savvy with IT, and they make networks. They can make networks quite easily, whether it's good or bad. So they have access to more or less internet. I'm not saying everybody, but most of the generation. So to answer your question, I would not say it's too early. I would say they have to be prepared. They have to be prepared to have this, you know, the knowledge, digital literature. They have to understand how things works, and they have to understand the type of danger out there that's awaiting. So, you know, you don't want the generations, the youth to be vulnerable to all these crimes. So they really need to be equipped with the knowledge. They really need to understand pros and cons of what they do through in the digital space, if that is your question. You know, if we are talking about the cyber or that aspect. If I understand correctly, of course, the youth these days really need to be prepared for anything. Looking at Kenya's context, you know, I find Kenya, because, you know, I've been studying Kenya just, you know, quite recently because of this event. And I find Kenya very much, it's very rich, very rich. You've got natural resources, you've got the products, you know, you've got the human resources, which is the youth. So all of this has to be come together and be part of the, you know, the factors that really drive the country up and forward. Yeah, ask me quite more specific questions if you don't mind.
Yes.
Explanation.
A lot more specifically, beyond the boundaries of Kenya, there are other opportunities which come as a result of international collaborations. There are countries offering scholarships. There are international development organizations that have, whether you call them mentorship programs or volunteer, you know, opportunities and things like this. How can our young people position themselves right from class to take advantage of such things?
Yeah. So okay, there has to be you know, enabling environment, right, for the youth. Sometimes the youth themselves cannot create opportunities because they are the one that's seeking the opportunity. So here, the government or even the universities or the industries, they need to understand how to leverage and how to, you know, bring the youth on board. So here, of course, they can apply for international scholarships and fellowships. There are many programs that's, you know, giving funding for young, you know, professionals to gain global exposure. There's also cross-border e-commerce platforms. So some of these comes created by the businesses and also the universities outside. So here, the mentorship organizations and other organizations that are already available in Kenya can also help to connect the youth to reach to these programs, you know, like for global jobs, or still, it doesn't always mean that the youth really have to go abroad. You know, it's not necessary. It's not a compulsory. There are many opportunities in locally. So this is also something that they really need to focus on, and you know, they can do a startup businesses like fintech or e-commerce, that sort of stuff. Also based in the country. Of course, there are also governmental initiatives that could help. And so for the Kenyan youth, there are opportunities both inside as well as outside. They have to take both of these opportunities, of course, through the communications and all of these mediums and the tools. And this is where a mentorship and the guidance would be very helpful to them. Thanks.
Right. So both academia and industry have to be proactive in, you know, sourcing these opportunities, making them much more accessible to the students. Naomi, I want to come back to you, and that's because we have spoken a lot about mentorship. I think you have had an opportunity to be mentored by someone else, by an organization. Let's talk about the place of that and how, because you also mentioned mentorship as some of the things that needs to happen earlier before people leave campus. How do you see this, playing out in very practical ways? And how much has it meant to your career so far?
Okay. Thank you so much. Mentorship has played a big role in my career journey and transitioning. Of course, that came very late because when I finished campus, I stayed for like 1 year, 3 months without getting anything on my way. And I would say that during that time, because I was in the University of Nairobi doing international studies and diplomacy, there was this organization called GMI, Global Mentorship Initiative, and I was one of the beneficiaries. Now, later on, 1 year, 3 months, I got a mentor called Kara, and through this period of mentorship, it was 12-week mentorship. During this time, I got to understand how I can get jobs through social media, and that is through LinkedIn, how to grow my social media and how to use my social media positively. Because, of course, young people, we are known as people who uses social media in a negative way. Not all, but I would say many of young people. But now through that guidance on how to be visible, how to put myself on the forefront, came into key. And that is when I got to even get to work with the GCSP, Geneva Center for Security Policy, and it was through LinkedIn, Was it not for this mentorship, I wouldn't have been able to realize that I can use my LinkedIn in a better way, because I joined LinkedIn back in 2016, and it was now 6 years later that, or how many, I don't remember exact years later, that I got to know that LinkedIn is a powerful tool that I can use to network, that I can use to get fellowships, that I can use to get jobs and all that, So it came at the right time, though it was late, but it was at least at the right time. And also realizing that I cannot work alone. I'm just a young person who is so aggressive and want to grab opportunities from one place to another place. How can I utilize my expertise? I know I'm in this field. I want to really actualize my expertise. How can I go about it? And it was also through this mentorship that I got to know about Coursera, that I got to know about Cisco Networking Academy. That's how I got to do certification for free, Before then, I knew that getting to do this certification, I would pay such amount of money. Where would I get this money? I'm just a young person who just completed the campus and doesn't have anything. I'm relying on small jobs, and all that. And I got to do actually certifications in cybersecurity, in global security, and all that. And these are the things that have really propelled me to another step in my career journey. So I think mentorship, and I will still insist, and even if it's possible, thank God Professor is here, it should be part of common courses in campus, or actually bringing in organizations to really help young people to open up their minds. Because, as I said, we are young people who are aggressive. We want everything. We want to get wealthy. We want to drive Porsche or Mercedes immediately after campus. But we cannot do that when we are all over the place. Someone needs to step in, like Muthoni, she said mentorship or coaching and all that is important. Someone needs to step in and provide guidance so that we can be able to cross over to the other side. Thank you. I can't hear you, David.
Sorry, I'm back on. I got a bit carried away by your dreams of driving a Porsche. Say this. It's a good thing. I'd like us to transition and talk a bit about, how people can position themselves. But because mentorship and the general positioning of the young person was placed so much on the shoulders of academia, I'd like to bring in Professor Maluki for a minute. How do you see this working in very practical terms? When we talk about taking advantage of global networks, taking advantage of international agreements, but also taking advantage of the fact that this young person is spending almost 80% or 90% of their time in your institution. How do you see this mentorship and linkages happening in practical terms from the lens of academic institutions?
Well, thank you very much. And I think you've raised a very important point on mentorship and occupying available space, positioning yourself. One, I want to start by first saying that I know a lot has been spoken about what the university should do to prepare young ones. I've been at the university for some time, and one thing I would tell you for sure, we can never agree on the ideal curriculum, because human society keep on changing. Sometimes talking about STEMs, we talk about, now at the University of Nairobi, it's now been made compulsory to teach entrepreneurship. When we review our curriculum, it's important because we need to capacity build our graduates with the skills and knowledge, aptitude to go and create. It's no longer, a white collar job but want them to be producers and creators. And I think it's a very positive way, but how to implement is where the challenge is. But let me say this. The universities have been given mandate, and we really mount young people, very many of them, because we handle students, and there are very critical times when they can either be really made positive or they can despair. We have had a number of situations where quite a number of our students have committed suicide because of despair and other, giving up. And the university community management has been always on, can you get engaged with the students? So yeah, I know quite some disciplines like psychology can really empower students, but not everybody can do psychology, and you cannot teach everything, in psychology or mentorship. But one of the ways in which we really try to engage with our students is to provide opportunities for them either to speak out and also to be seen. Universities, and in my department specifically, we have come up with a number of outdoor activities. We have centers, for example, centers specializing in different areas, and we get support. We also get some money to engage in conferences. And this makes students to interact with the industry. Actually, tomorrow I'm hosting a dialogue on international migration, and I have all the big people in international migration. Is a big platform. But we want the students to come out. One of the things that I was saying, and I want to say this to young people, unless you get out there, we may not know where you are and whether you are in need. I'll be honest to say I have a number of examples I can give of needy students who have come to my office, and out of luck, I have linked them to opportunities. So one of the things that I would encourage younger people is to get out. Talk to people, get known. Just send an email to organization, UNDP, African Development Bank. Be ready to introduce yourself, right? And when you get business card, just try to follow up. Some people, they are really humane. Text somebody, say, oh, we met on this. So I think getting known is very important. I always tell my students there is always a space out there, but it depends on who will fill that space. So how you fill that space is your responsibility. Please speak out, be seen, come out, use your university, period to come to engagement like this one. I would have expected all my students to be here, but when I see we are just 33, I have over 300 students. I'm asking, where are they? Because this is exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about. Tomorrow, when I organize another event, maybe only 20 will. So where is the young people? And what are they waiting for? And I think some of them get lost, as in, we are now the university, it's our time to enjoy, we are still young. And this fixation on your youngness is what later catches up with you and get frustrated. because you keep believing I'm young, you are no longer young. I mean, as long as you are 18 plus, you are a mature person, be ready to take up this responsibility. So sometimes we wake up when we are 25, 30. Let me say, one of the experience I had of a young student is one who came to my office and she really needed help, mentorship for that matter. I'm happy I was able to help her. Today, she's really a very, very well connected person. But she kept reminding me, I'm a lady and I'm 31. You know, it had not clicked me about the age of a young girl. 31 is so critical. But then before you reach that one, you are still there. What were you doing before that? So I think we want to tell our young people to be able to, be out, come out, you know, look for these opportunities wherever they are. Whenever you get some connection, explore them, follow up. And one thing I know about Kenyan society that we are very sympathetic to students. Whenever somebody says, I am a student at Daystar University, I'm a student, and honestly, there is that bit of empathy. Oh, is it? All right. And therefore, so this period of studentship, many have really benefited out of it. Because when you're a student, you are likely to be taken positively by whoever you are talking to and whoever you are. But when you are not out there, when you don't reach out to others, when you don't network, then it becomes very difficult. You know, so it's true. There are some opportunities occur, but our young people must take it upon themselves. And this is what we're calling about resilience. This is what I want about soft skills, you know, and being proactive and really positive-minded, be a go-getter. And let me just, by closing, say that one of my, the recent example I can give is a girl who is doing my master's. This girl just decided to come and introduce herself to me. I don't teach the class. She came and said, okay, I'm so-and-so, and I'm looking for a job. It didn't take even one week. I got a call from the UN, and they said, okay, can you give us 3 students for a scholarship, a very, very prestigious scholarship. Believe you me, that student got one scholarship. It was one of the 3. So coming out is very, very useful. We can't assist you unless we know you. Platform like where you have Kiki, you have Muthoni, you have these very useful platforms and many others. So reach out to the world internally and globally, and believe you me, help will come in your way. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much. And I have seen a comment from someone who's known to me personally. Lamek Mutava. I'd encourage anyone who's here, who's seeking to, you know, push their brand on LinkedIn, to speak to Lamek Mutava. Says mentorship isn't a one-way street. What are mentees bringing to the table? Reminds me of a mentor that I had who told me, I'm not just your mentor, you are also my mentor. And it works, you know, both ways. We are cross-mentoring each other. So he says, when we talk about mentorship, the focus often is on what mentors can do for their mentees. But here's a real question. What should mentees be doing? And I think Prof has done quite a bit on that, about the individual responsibility. In as much as the institution will do whatever it does, the individual has a responsibility. Lamek has written a whole document there, which I encourage you to interact with. I'd like to bring in Muthoni for a bit. There's a whole brand that is being developed right from campus. And when I listen to Professor, I'm beginning to think that perhaps it should even begin earlier than that. But there's a whole brand that's being built here. What goes into building that brand, and how do I position myself for the world to think of me as someone who would bring value to them right from that level?
Thank you, David. So if I understand your question correctly, it has to do with a young graduate who wants to go out there and be on the entrepreneurship journey. Is that my understanding correct?
No, well, that is correct, but not only entrepreneurship, but I mean developing the personal brand. Whether you will go on to be an entrepreneur or to seek a job somewhere else. How do I package myself so that the market will be much more receptive what I'm doing or what I'm presenting.
Mm-hmm. No, thank you, David, for that clarification. You know, Naomi and Prof have brought in so many gems to this conversation that they have already answered 50% of that question. The one, you know, Naomi, you brought in that personal experience about showing up, about going to look for people, about not shying away, you know, to put yourself out there. And that's the same thing that Prof said. You put yourself out there. Who will know you're there if you don't show up? How will you know that Muthoni and Kiki and Yeman and Patrick and David exist if you don't show up to the Hesed World discussion? So I think Naomi has already brought in gems to answer to David's question. Now, the one thing that, you know, is so clear, David, is that wherever you want to position yourself, we talk of the 3 Ps. You have that passion, you have that purpose, and guess what? The profit will come. It might not come tomorrow because we know that life is not lined up in a straight line. There will be parts where it goes up and down. The ups and downs are part of building our resilience that Prof spoke about. So when you're talking about how am I going to work on my brand, if it's not speaking from your heart, right from the bottom of your belly, then I don't think you're going to be in for the long haul. Because when we have a sense of passion, then you go out and you have that purpose. No matter how tough it is, you will still be in for the long haul. And that's the patience that Prof was talking about. Why? Because you cannot climb the tree from the top. Yes, we have a generation that's in a hurry. Part of that hurry is what we, my generation, has been showing them. That, hey, look, this is what I'm having right now, the famous Porsche. But they don't say, it took me 25 years to actually get that Porsche after driving a Datsun 125, if anyone knows what that is. So if you are coming from a place of passion and purpose, the profit will come. When you do not shy away, when you let your voice be heard, that opportunity will come. And even when that opportunity doesn't come, you will have learned something, because a learning mindset allows you to say, oh, hang on, I actually ventured into X, Y, Z, whatever it was, and now I need to pivot because I can see it's not making sense. But to be able to make that decision, you have to be very sound in terms of your own personal resilience, your awareness, as well as your ability to communicate. I have seen, and I'm not in any way discounting how the young entrepreneurs communicate, but I have seen communication that's not connecting. You have your brand that you're selling, and you wake up and tell me, in my generation, hey, Sasini, I am selling XYZ. And I'm thinking, oh, what was that about? Seriously, we have to communicate to connect. The youth must remember that they're not the only ones in their generation. That when they go out there in the digital space, they're not just selling to Kenyans on the platform. They have a brand. Think through it wholeheartedly. Put your passion, put your purpose into it, put all your innovation and heart into it. And it's a matter of time and the profit will come. I hope that has answered your question.
Thank you very much. It really is war out there. you really just have to prepare for war, it seems. I'd like to, I don't know how much time we have, Kiki, before we transition to the next thing. But I'd like to speak just a bit about you know, the entrepreneurship side of things. And perhaps you help us with this.
Yeah, we've got 5 minutes before we transit into opening
up the floor.
Yes, please. Thank you.
All right. So, you know, one of the things that I saw that many people are asking is about money, capital. And when people are saying, you know, we want to get into this entrepreneurship thing, but there's a question of capital. Many people do not have capital. So when we look at and getting getting access to venture capital is also very steep. You need to have already gotten to a very serious level before you can think about getting venture capital. Are there alternatives that people can look towards? You know, people who want to get into entrepreneurship, want to get into business. Are there any alternatives that you can talk about here when it comes to money? Yes, Yemen.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that question. Sorry, I was a bit. Yes, entrepreneurship, right? It's a tough thing, actually. It's not it's good to hear, but when you actually work on it, it's very difficult. There's not like somebody is waiting there to, you know, unless it's your parent. Hey, well, you know, invest now, you do whatever. But it doesn't work like that. Of course, you have to, and you need to know what you are trying to do. And of course, there's you have to understand the cash flow, you know, of sort of these cash flow and then the investment. And you also need to understand the market issues, right? And suppose if you're going to do a business, you need to understand the market that you want to place your business in. And of course, you run the business, and then there's cash flow problems, and there are also things that you really need to understand it, right? Of course, there is a system already if you're going to run it, right? There's a cost of operations and the labor cost and so on and so forth. And sometimes it also brings in self-doubt while you're halfway. You think, oh, whether if I should be doing this, or whether it really exhausting, both mentally and, you know, physically. Another thing is the partnership. Often you find yourself in the partnership with somebody, or one or two or three, when you are trying to put in entrepreneur, you know, when you want to establish a business or and very often, I'm saying this from my experience, very often you are more optimistic that you think it's going to happen. But there are things that you did not calculate and this miss out. And then sometimes you also meet with the and dishonest person, shall we put it. And then the partnership becomes very bitter. And then you resort to legal issues and so on. So what I'm saying is entrepreneurship, it's one thing that you really need to sometimes having a mentor, you do need a mentor so that you can profit from mentor's experience, so that you do not waste your own money, shall I put it. You don't have unnecessary losses for that. So there is a mentor. If the mentor is vast in business, there could be, you know, business mentoring, and that you should the youth could listen to. And there are many case studies like that. So, and when you are in the entrepreneurship, don't be greedy. You must be don't greedy for money, but you create the values, and you create you try to accomplish it, try to make it successful, and the money will comes in. So these are some of the, you know, practical advice I like to add into that. And of course, do not be afraid of failure. Okay, it's not the end; it's a lesson. So you have to stay resilient and adapt. You have to adapt and then keep pushing forward. Thanks.
Thank you very much. You know, you mentioned not being afraid of failure. I recently interviewed an entrepreneur who's been at it for 30 years, and it has not made sense to date. And he's still going. All right, so I'd like us transition, but just really briefly. Yeah,
David,
yes, Kiki.
allow me to just share this, because we're talking about this entrepreneurship. So the key aspect of it is innovation, problem solving, risk taking, value creation, resilience, and adaptability. And, you know, I like what Professor said. He said that the university is going to take this on. There is not enough jobs for everybody. Well, God has given you a creative mind. You have so much that you can do. The reason why I even started Hesed World was because of that particular form. I said to myself, Where is my space? What do I need to do? Where I am, I can no longer give anything else. And so out of that came Hesed World. I really believe that each individual youth out there, there is something in you. And that is where mentorship comes in. Over to you, David. Sorry.
All right. Yeah, just before we open it up to the floor, I wanted to ask Muthoni to please speak to us for 1 minute about, so I do not have the networks. I have not been mentored. I have not started. Like, I just have my degree, or perhaps almost completing my degree, but I do not have anything else. No networks, no mentorship, no idea where I am going from here. Could you just give us a quick guide? So where do I start from if this is my situation today?
Thank you, David. And before I do that, there's one thing that I wanted to add to Kiki's list of the entrepreneurship gems. Integrity. 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 We are living in a very polarized society where, unfortunately, what we see is not necessarily the best practices that we would want for our businesses. And the moment that we start our entrepreneurship journey as youth with a very, gray picture of what does integrity mean? How am I actually making that money? Does making that money take over my social mindset? Does making that money mean that I can shortchange everybody and my grandmother because I have to make money and seem successful? Then you need to step back and say, what is it that I'm doing? Making money is not just about you. We are Africans. We are Kenyans. We have a heart that says Ubuntu. I am because we are. If we put that in the back of our minds as we have all these nice ideas, this is a thought that comes to me all the time now with my generation and with me as a Kenyan. Let us not lose our social mindset. Let us make sure that integrity still remains on the top of our list, up to and including how we are supporting or how we are paying back our loans. Why I say this is because I saw something about it's difficult to get loans or financial facilities. Actually, we have so many platforms with mainstream banks, with other lending institutions who are saying that one of the problems they have is that the youth are not paying back when they do get loans. Create a good relationship with your financial institution. Whether you're tapping into your mobile loaning system, whether you're tapping into a fund that's been created by the government, whether you're tapping into the mainstream banks, create a relationship. It will come, it will be slow, and it will be there. I hope that helps, David. You came back and said, what would you do? I have got nothing. David, we all have something. And I want to come from the point of we are whole and able. When you have a plan, plant that seed. Knock the doors that Prof was talking about. Do not have hopelessness. Trust me, even the big brands started from a small idea in their minds. So long as it's coming from you, you have a deep passion and purpose, go for it. The rest will come through. The bank will come through. The customers will come through. But you will have done your inner work and you will be able to go and pivot when things are hard. I hope that helps.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we'd like to open this up to our guests, everyone on the platform who's participating now. Those questions that you'd like our panelists to address, you can bring them up now. If you'd like to raise your hand or type it out in the chat, we'll be happy to bring it to their attention. I see that there's a question from Ndwiga Kamwangi, who says, hi, can Muthoni briefly mention the key weaknesses she's seen with some of the African youth in the global workspace arena?
Thank you so much, David. I'll just make sure that I read the, please read the question again. I just know to be sure I'm on the right one.
Yeah, the person is asking if you could mention some of the weaknesses that you have encountered among the African youth in the global workspace.
Okay, thank you. And thank you so much for that question. And I will not call it a weakness. I'll call it as an opportunity. One that we all talk about is we shy away from letting our voices be heard. We sometimes have this notion that because of where we come from, we are not full enough to show up. And that's something that's not serving us. It's not serving us as a people. It's not serving us as a country. It's not serving us as a continent. We are whole and able to deliver. And that is something that I say from the bottom of my heart, having worked in the international space. So don't shy away. Even when things are not looking good, let your voice be heard and know that you're resourceful and you're able.
Thank you very much. Know that you're resourceful and you're able. You're playing small doesn't help anyone. All right, so I'd like to bring in Professor. Unless we have a question, a hand up that perhaps I haven't seen, kindly bring it to my attention. We do not have any questions yet. All right.
Professor, great.
Okay, yeah, thank you, David. I think I just want to weigh into what Muthoni just said, especially on what I call self-doubt. If there is something that we need to work on our young people is self-doubt. Unfortunately, because maybe of our background, the family setup and other environmental factors, we, in many cases, doubt our abilities. But my words to young people is that if you've been to school, you've been able to go through your elementary school, you are now in campus and you are where you are capable. Believe in yourself. Do something small and grow it. And okay, just because you are young, you don't have the experience, it is possible for you to have that. But we are here today to encourage you and say that you are able. Start small and see how you can build that up. In my experience at the university, I've seen young people come up with very small entrepreneur enterprises, like just branding T-shirts. I remember one boy who went on, developed his own logo and started a business of branding T-shirts. And you just put on that logo and he got customers. It's a business. It started growing. Quite a number of others have gone into the music industry. Somebody is very good in vocals. You just go and start recording. What we are saying is that you are able and you always have something to offer. So don't spare, don't feel useless, feel encouraged and find out where your talents are. You can grow in any industry. The society is very wide and encompassing. So you may not be good in athletics or in sports, but you could be good in music, even dance, or anything that could actually earn you a living. So I think it's about discovering our talents and nurturing our capabilities, and then you prosper in where you are most suited. So I think that's what the starting point. But the other, without overdoing what I've said before, is the ability of young people to push themselves to, go to the next step, and especially feel free to volunteer, because one of the areas that we have found is that we have organizations, but they may not have money to pay you, and therefore they say, now, if I absorb you, what will I pay you? But if you can volunteer, and even the government has learned, the art of mentorship, where we are getting now interns. Internship has become a big way of exposing young people to work environment. So feel free to say, okay, I'll spend some time, but let me be in this environment as a volunteer. And out of that, you are likely to see opportunities happening. You are likely to meet with the new people, with the ideas, and you get networked. So I think the key word here is just moving out, occupy the space that's available, and also trusting that you are capable, and whatever idea you have is not useless. You can grow it in in a unique way, because we are all talking about innovations, and inventions and innovation means creating new products, new outcomes, and everyone has a different mind. So believe you me, those ideas that you have when you are sleeping, write them down, don't forget them, and kind of keep on. In fact, within 1-2 years, you may say, oh, look, I have slept with this idea, now it's working after this time. So I think the young people, take time to really do soul searching and discover yourself, and then market yourself to society, and opportunities are there. Thank you.
All right. In the interest of cross mentorship, as we said, I think we're not only welcoming questions. Some of you may actually have brilliant ideas that could also help us move forward, right? So if you'd like to share your thoughts on some of the things that we are discussing, please feel free to do that. Ina or Anna, not sure how that is pronounced, says there has been a notion that the job market is saturated, and that getting an opportunity in this generation is a challenge, unlike in the past. Please address. I don't know who wants to come first. Naomi, do you want to come first? You want to jump on this?
And someone else can come first.
All right, no worries, yeah.
Yes.
I don't mind if you allow me to come again.
Okay.
Because it's true, very true, that job market is shrinking and opportunities are not rare. I would say when I was in the university, I got my employment letter even before I'd done my last exam. We were already employed. That time jobs were there. University life was easy, and people, government and organizations were looking for skilled labor, and therefore it was. Today, I'll be honest to say that I have, people who have gone through education, done all the degrees, talk of the number of degrees that we offer in this country, either engineering, law, even medicine, but they are tarmacking, there are no jobs. So it's true. But what we are encouraging young people is to now learn skills to navigate this environment. We cannot take you back to live our times. You got to live your time, man. This is your time. So how you become resilient, adaptable without giving up is basically what we want to encourage you. And here is where we are saying, try out different things, try out skills, link up with organizations. If you are lucky to have supportive parents, you can volunteer somewhere so that you don't just focus on the money, because this is another issue that young people really want. And we heard it from Naomi that you want to be driving the best car within, one first 3 years. If you are lucky, why not? It's not a crime. I would encourage and be very happy. But it's not usually, easy. So start somewhere and explore opportunities. And as you grow, different opportunities will open. I want to say I interacted with one student who really was very daring, and I'm very happy to share this experience, because the student was a banker and she was doing MA International Studies and Diplomacy. And somehow in a course of study, she learned that being a banker may not have a very prolonged career journey, career path, because she felt that after being a teller, that would mean a highest position in the banking industry, unless you are part of the directors. And she took, a risk where she took up an NGO, and volunteered in that NGO, and she used the title of the NGO without salary, all right, for about 2 years. And she was able to build network. She approached UNDP, writing proposals. She went to Africa Women, the UN Women Organization. And out of luck, this lady landed a job in South Africa with a code. As we speak today, She's working with the UN. And this was self-made person. It was her journey. The NGO was not paying, but she used the title and she used that clout and was able to reach out to potential employers. And she managed because she felt that she was stuck where she was as a bank teller, and that did not have progression, because she was not in the management. So what I'm giving you this to show that the potential of future opening up and be able to really move on and advance. So job market may be saturated, but you can still find your space somewhere within that. Yeah, but let me allow this to pass to other panelists as well. Thank you so much.
Before you do that,
so
sorry,
I'd like us...
David, can I please come in? Because what Professor is saying is so important. And I have someone in the audience. His name is Dwiga. Dwiga, are you able to come in just to share with us example of when you were it was in the bank loaning to entrepreneurs, some of the challenges that you saw? Are you able to share that with us? That's if you're Dwiga. Kamawangi, are you able to take the floor?
Yes, I'm able to.
Okay, please, would you mind sharing? Thank you.
So this is really a very interesting topic because many people talk about lacking capital. But when you have a chat with them, as a lender, I've realized the main problem actually is before the capital, how well refined is your idea? If today someone gave you the money you wanted, what are the chances that what you want to do, you will achieve? So some of the questions I take young people through is, just tell me how you will make your first sale. How will you source your goods? If this and this happens, how will you resolve? So challenge in not knowing your value chain end to end. Number two, the management of the money when you get it. You will find even people who have done accounting and they have gone through the professor's hands. When it comes to separating the business money and their own money, it becomes a challenge. So you find people are not doing very basic things in accounting. And I'm not talking about accounting for reporting. It's basic. Like I started with this amount. I spent this to buy this. I have sold. So this amount goes to profit. This amount goes to, very simple. The other challenge, Kiki, is record keeping. Just simple records, like filing the receipts and tabulating. This is what I have done on this day, this other day, this week, this month. It's difficult. So this is what I would suggest for young people who want to go into entrepreneurship. Before you think capital, because I can tell you, capital does not grow business. It is your mind that grows that business. And I have been learning many years. So when I say this, I'm very sure. It is your mind. That's why you find some people who start with small monies, grow their business consistently. Others who start with a lot of money, they are back where they started soon after. So how do I suggest? Go to a person who has done that business. Understand how they do it. Don't go to people who are giving you the story. If I'm telling you Minn is a very good person in supermarkets and I am in publishing, don't take my word. Volunteer even with Minn. Understand how he goes about his business. It is better to learn there than to learn from the stories you see on social media. You know, social media just they show you David standing by a Mercedes Benz and he's in journalism, and you say, oh, this is the place to go. But the person posting it is in his own business of creating content. David did not start with the Benz, and you have not even heard David's story. That's a problem. So think through, get the details, put your money at the last moment. So in short, what I normally say is, when you want to do business, refine your idea, get the information, research on your process end to end, then get your money. And before you put the money in the business, see it running successfully in another person's shop. That way, you reduce your chances of failure by up to 80%. Thank you, Kiki.
Thank you so much, Ndwiga. I think we need a whole other session to talk about these points that you're bringing up. I'd like us to do a roundup now where I will give each one of our panelists just 60 seconds to give us the final thoughts. But as you do that, I'll start with Naomi and then Yamin and then Muthoni and finish off with Professor. As you do that, someone has posted a question here that there is this issue we've always seen in the job adverts that we need 3 to 5 years of experience. And now for someone who's just getting into the job market and who's interested in this position and perhaps capable of handling the position, how do you get the experience? I mean, bits and pieces of information about that have been given, but perhaps you can include that in your last thoughts. Naomi, your 60 seconds begin now.
Thank you. Thank you for that. So to answer that question, I'll combine with the other question that had been asked by Emma or Enna. I would say, I would just put across 2 things. There's power in networking and personal branding. This is because, and I'm a beneficiary of networking and personal branding, and this is because you realize that there are many jobs that are filled today through referrals and networking. So it's not just about online application, you know, you need to network, and there are so many platforms like LinkedIn, you know, we've talked about X, we've talked about professional associations, that is attending career fairs, networking through even your own school. I understand that universities have career fairs. Join them and help connect yourself with these employers that come during the career fairs, and also have a good CV. You know, you might, yes, I know most of us here have been applying jobs, 100+ jobs, but is your CV good? You know, how is your portfolio on LinkedIn? You need to increase that so that it can, you need to do that to ensure that your CV, your online presence is good so that it can increase your visibility. And also, I believe that we need to adapt. You know, by this I mean when there's adaptability, you thrive. And this comes through, you know, you learn. There are so many demand skills out here, and there are so many platforms that you can learn through ALX, you know, MasterCard. Learn this data analysis, their AI, their digital marketing, and this will help you thrive in the job market. And on the question of how do you get this experience and you're still in school, there are so many opportunities of volunteering. Even that volunteer will add to your experience. And there are so many, be open to even short-term contracts, that is 3 months or even 6 months or 2 months. This will help you accumulate all this experience. By the time you're done with your campus, you'll have at least, and I know so many people, and I know that they're here, that they started working while in 3rd year, and it was through volunteering or even being paid little, like just a stipend of 10,000 Kenyan shillings or even 15,000 Kenyan shillings. And where they are right now, their experience is almost up to 5 or 7 years. Also seek mentorship and be ready to learn. You know, having that urge to learn, continuous learning will help you position yourself and be able to get good opportunities out here. And the last thing I would love to say is there's some pillars, or I know most of us might not know or know, there are pillars that has helped me to maneuver and be able to really exist and manage to get opportunities out here and even be the best sometimes amongst my peers, or at least, showcase what I have. So you pray, prayer is key. I know probably most of us are not Christians here, but pray. There's power in praying. And when you pray, it helps your mind, or it helps you to really have a clear mind on how you can operate, have discernment on what you can do outside here, and then plan yourself accordingly. I do not expect us as young people to be waking up at 9 or 10 a.m. What are you doing with yourself, with your time? You can use your time to be able.
Oh, come on. Oh dear. What's happened?
Can you hear me?
Okay, you're back. Yes,
You're back.
thanks.
Okay. So I was saying you need to plan yourself accordingly so that you can be able to achieve a lot of things within a short period of time. I am a living example of planning myself accordingly. And this has been happening for the longest time. Personally, waking up at 4 a.m. is no longer an issue with me, but waking up that time will help me. By the time it's 8 or 9 p.m., I've been able to really get done with my things, and be able to do these short courses so that I can have or create a room for other things that comes. And then you prepare yourself, we need to prepare ourselves for these opportunities. We cannot be crying day in, day out that we don't have something to do, but you're not preparing yourself as a young person. And then you participate. We've had Muthoni, we've had Njogu, we've had our Professor Patrick, and even Minn saying that we need to participate. Make sure you network, attend these forums. I mean, we have all the time, apart from studying, what else are you doing? Or apart from, yes, you have your 8 to 5 job, what else are you doing on the weekends? Attend these forums, join clubs. We have Rotary clubs around. Yes. And then you perform. When you're given a task, please ensure that you give your best. Don't do something because you've been asked to do, but do it because out of this thing, I can come out. There's something that can come out of it. And you don't know who is watching you while you're doing what you're doing. And persist. Don't give up. Please let us not give up. I know out here is hard. I know that you can even sleep without having food. You sleep without food because you don't have even a penny in your pocket. But please let us persist. Patience. Let us be patient. If we put ourselves out there and then we exercise patience, then we'll be able to come out successfully and then progress. Don't give up. Repeat the same circle. You progress on a daily basis, because by progressing, then it means something good will come out of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let's go to Minn now. The 60 seconds.
Right, very quickly. Kenya has a lot of opportunity. So don't say that there is no, opportunity or okay, first you have to understand what are you looking for? Okay, are you looking for salary jobs? Are you trying to build a career? Or is it the business or the startups or the tradings or the investments? Or are you trying to pursue your passion? There's so many things that you can do as youth, because you have any chapter that you can start with. So these are the things that you have to understand. The money opportunities out there that you just have to pitch that. So we all say about preparations. Yes, preparations and opportunity. When you add these two up, then equals to luck, right? People usually say, "Well, luck is that." Preparations and opportunity meets, but you have to be prepared. So here, in the context of Kenya, the money thing, the money exports and the money fields that you can tap into, right? You've got the minings, you've got, copper, limestone, soda, coffee, tea, horticulture, oil, tourism, agriculture. There's so many things that Kenya has opportunity in terms of business. And so these are the markets that will thrive, okay? Even though that you will master the tools, something like digital and technological skills or critical thinking and problem solving, communications and personal branding. These are the tools that you will have. But those are the market that would still be unique to Kenya. And here, I like to add by looking at it from a holistic approach. You know, the government, I mean, this is not only because if looking for a country, a macro level, you need, it's not just a social, responsibility, it's a national priority to invest in youth. Of course, the government must continue investing in youth-friendly policies and financial, support programs. And the private sector must also offer mentorship, internships, and capital for young innovators. Of course, the youth themselves must also seize these opportunities, embrace, life learning, and then take charge of their future. And then, you volunteer in these industries. And that's how you could also land in the jobs that you're interested in. So there are so much possibilities. So you just have to be prepared and make sure your mind is clear what you want to do. Also not only look outside, but also look inside. What is where your heart is? What is your passion? What are you interested in? And that way you can do so much, and you can go a long way. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Some introspection necessary there. Thank you, Coyote. Thank you, Ina, and thank you, Sharon. We see you. Thank you so much for your feedback. I'd like to hand the microphone now to Prof. Before we go to Muthoni. So, Prof, your closing remarks. You have 60 seconds.
Thank you, David. Thank you, David. This is very captivating. I'm really happy this has come out and the young people are speaking. Trigger, that was good. You really nailed the point on the top. I think my concluding remarks, I'm going to be very candid with the young people. And this is, please don't cry for sympathy. No, it doesn't work. Don't cry for sympathy, because you are very many and opportunities are few. So if you waste your time, lamenting and crying, it will not help. It has not helped. Participate, build your profile, prepare yourself, have impact. I have participated in a number of job interviews. I remember one time we needed 2 people in a position, and we got 48 applications. And most of those applicants, I knew them, but then there are only 2 positions. So what exactly do you think can make you there? It's how you prepare yourself. I'll be very honest to say, we should list about 6 people, and out of that, 1 boy, we are not very sure, who is this guy? I mean, we don't know him. And the panel said, can you call this guy to know, just hear him speak to us. And the guy was called, and the phone was put on loudspeaker. That boy defended himself, just the way he talked, the way he really communicated, he got the opportunity. So no room for lamenting, sympathizing, crying babies. Sorry, I'll be very honest. But when you participate, when you are out there, if you are prepared and you have a profile, you are really, somebody of integrity, then opportunities are there. So I just want to continue by, it is a self-help system. And what we can do for you is to tell you, just like we are doing, this is how the environment is. So please prepare yourself. But after this, it is your personal initiative. It is your personal effort that will make the difference. So I think I would stop there and say thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Professor. Thank you. And now Muthoni will close this session for us.
Then I'll take it off.
Thank you so much, David, and so many insights already shared by Naomi, by Minn, by Prof. Mine is really, really short. The youth of this country must love this country. And in loving this country, we will do what is necessary to build businesses, to work in opportunities that are offered to us, to show up in our best capacity. We will protect our homeland through our work, through our care of the environment, and through our care for each other. Every single soul on this planet, on this land, on this motherland of ours that is golden matters. Take everyone along. Take the plumber, take the mechanic, take the mamamboga, take your professor, take your doctor. We all have a role in this society. Let us not go out into the job market or into our entrepreneurship journey thinking that we are going to prosper alone. We must take everybody along and have a deep sense of love for this country. This is where we need to make it happen. And I know that with that in mind, with our efforts, we are going to leave a country in a better place, and we will have many, many other generations that will reap the benefits of your hard work, of your determination, of your integrity, of your participation. So many things said. We go out there. Thank you so much, Kiki and your team, for bringing us together. This has been awesome.
Right, so before I hand it over to Kiki, let me just say a big, big thank you on behalf of all our panelists. A thank you to you for showing up, for being here with us, for giving us your opinion, for asking the questions, for helping us understand what it is that we need to talk about, and some of the things that Hesed World needs to focus on as they embark on their agenda of youth empowerment in Kenya and in many of our African countries. Asanteni sana. God bless you. See you again in the next conversation. And of course, it will be important to hear what is next. We'll hear that from Kiki. But if you are in a position where you can take in one more person, where you can show someone what it is that they can do with themselves to maximize the opportunities that are available for them, please promise you and us that you will not let that opportunity pass. All right? Thank you so much. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you to all the panelists. Thank you to the participants, and thank you, David, for really, really helping us to gather the voices and the knowledge and the deepness of what this conversation is about. So what's next? So first of all, when I was listening to most of you, there are some key takeaways I'm hearing. Patience and a positive spirit. Bridging the mentorship gap. Find a mentor, coach, accountability partner. Soft skills matters. Beyond technical knowledge, employers value communication, adaptability, and leadership. Resilience is key. Networking is a superpower. And also, what I've also heard from Prof is that entrepreneurship is now integrated into the University of Nairobi. There's so much that you guys might not even know about. So what are the next steps? We started off with this fireside chat in Nigeria. And from there, we now move to Kenya. And the next thing is that we are going to go to Malawi. After that, we are coming to Geneva, Switzerland. So what I'm really trying to say is that we are gathering a community of youth. One of the things it's always I'm passionate about is that, yes, I was fortunate to have been sent to boarding school in the UK from a Nigerian parents, where I tell you something I learned on my visit to Nigeria and also my visit to Kenya particularly. I saw the youth of ICT students trying to pitch their ideas to investors, and the passion that they were giving it was so touching. And I am sure, I am telling you that all you need is just to take that little step of faith. Don't be a victim. I know it's hard. When I was reading from the responses that we're getting, someone was saying, I have a student loan. I haven't been able to get a job for over 1.5 years, but yet I need to pay an interest into that student loan. All that is a headache for a young person. And I hope that start from here, take that little step. So join our community, that's one part of it. The movement where you can share with your peers as well. The second thing we thought we would do now is that this Fireside Chat in Kenya has allowed us to take data, your voice, everything that we've heard. We're now going to tailor it and come up with 2 events, one in the rural area and one in the urban area. And what we thought we would do is try to bring in investors, private sector, industrial leaders, academia, NGOs, coaches, mentors, right? Bring them together, and then it will allow you to even go deeper. So please don't forget us. Go to our website, go to our LinkedIn. We even got Inspira now and YouTube, wherever you need to get to try and stay in touch with us, connect with us, because what we're going to do is that you will then be a testimony for others. I hope that today you will share, someone mentioned that, you will share whatever you learned today. Just talk to someone else about it, because you can actually change that person. And it can be a matter of life and death. So thank you so much for being here today. Thank you again to all the speakers. I've learned so much from you. And thank you guys for all for Naomi. Thank you, Naomi. Naomi is part of my team. And, it's a passion that actually brought me closer to her. I thought, no, she has a lot to say. She has a lot to give. And you can hear it from her voice today. So thank you, everyone, and we wish you well. So sorry that we've gone over the time by 16 minutes. It's because we started off late as well. So Ashanti, how do you say it again, David? Asante Sana? Is it? Okay. Asante Sana, everyone. Thank you so much. And take care and God bless. Bye for now. Thank you, everyone.
A picture.